Alright, so this is a little different than any other of the editorials I've done, which are usually how I would do a movie or defense of a movie or something like that. This video is actually a direct response to a video I watched this morning. This video, which I'm going to talk about here in a sec, the comment section was turned off for reasons which I think are going to become very clear. But it's one of those things I really wanted to comment on. And since you couldn't do it kind of officially, don't fall over, Mortimer. You couldn't do it officially, I figured, well, you know what? I have to drive down to go see this movie tonight. Why not? You know, let's do it. Let's do it this way. If you are not familiar with the work of Lindsay Ellis, and I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. Lindsay Ellis is, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of a lot of people, is the best video essay, documentarian, pop culture analyst, whatever you want to call it, on the web right now. She does simply brilliant video essays, using popular culture to expand on film theory or breaking down a film, for not just doing like the rest of us do, you know, pointing out plot holes. It's not a CinemaSins thing. This is actually breaking down the thoughts and the major ideas as to why a film works or doesn't work. You know, some of my personal favorites of hers, the incredible feels of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I can't remember the name of the video, but she does a like 30-minute breakdown of the live-action Beauty and the Beast and why it doesn't work. She does an entire series where she kind of goes through all of film theory using only Michael Bay's Transformer movies as an example. She is just incredibly intelligent, masterfully eloquent, and just all around one of the most talented people you're going to find on YouTube. If you haven't seen her work, I urge you, go check it out. Go look for it, because and even though I can say I don't always agree with everything she says or every point that she makes, the intelligence and the logic with which she makes the argument still makes it compelling, you know, which is something that I think is missing from a lot of discourse online, that intelligence. This video I was watching this morning is her at the XOXO conference, and she's talking to the audience, and she's telling this story, something I had no knowledge of. I didn't know this had happened, and she even says in the talk that she kept it private. A lot of people didn't know it was going on, where she became the target of, you know, these assholes, not so much trolls, these aren't trolls. She calls them alt-haters or other terms. These people on the far spectrum of the political spectrums, again, I'm not going to get into details here, who target people online who they feel are a threat or are saying something they don't like, and go after them to an extent that it costs them jobs, it costs them money, it affects their livelihood. The biggest example of this, and the one she gives, is like a year or two ago, director James Gunn of the Guardians of the Galaxy series was fired from Disney because of some tweets that he had posted years before that he had apologized for and all that. And these people just went at him so much that Disney wanted to distance themselves from him and, you know, fired him. Of course, he's back now. We all know that. But she was talking about a fairly recent situation where she found herself in the exact same situation, where a tweet that she had posted had caught the attention of these people, and they went after her and went after her job and her livelihood. She talks about how it affected her emotionally and mentally, and it was a very raw, very honest talk of just what this whole situation was. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to leave a comment supporting her, but couldn't do it there, so I'm doing it here. So what I basically just want to say is that I just want to give all the kudos in the world to Lindsay Ellis. I've always respected her as a artistic voice, as an artistic critic. But I must say, because I've never met her, I have no idea what she's like personally. To get up and to talk about something that is clearly still a big emotional rubbing point for her, in front of all these people, and trying to do it with the hope of helping people who are going through it, I think that just takes so much bravery. It takes such guts. And watching the video, you can tell that she is having a hard time. She is laughing, she's making jokes, but you can tell just from how she's talking, her body language, that she's very uncomfortable. But she powers through it. And I just think that alone deserves just all the credit in the world. I can tell you, I've never been cyberbullied. I'm clearly not a big enough personality. It's not like I want to be. It's like, oh, why is she cyberbullied, but I'm not? I've never had that situation. I have been regular bullied. I mean, I know that's shocking for a lot of people to hear. I know you see me in these videos and you just think, well, why would he ever be bullied? He's clearly the coolest guy in the room. But believe it or not, there was a time in life when being the Star Trek fan figure skater brought a certain amount of unwanted attention. I know, shocking, right? Clearly not the way it is today, with male figure skaters being the cultural touchstones that they are now. But, back in the day, back in the primitive time of the 90s and 80s, it was rather unheard of. I was a trailblazer. Anyway, I know what it's like to be bullied. Believe me, I know. And one of the things she touches on in this talk, and I think one of the big things that is the takeaway for me, is that when you're bullied in any situation, the worst feeling is that you are alone. There's no good reason for it as far as you know. You don't know why you became a target, and there's this feeling like everyone in the world is just coming at you. And clearly what I went through is not as big as what she went through. I mean, these folks were, they threatened her job. I'm pretty sure she indicated she had received actual threats. So, I mean, clearly it's not on that same balance, but it is that feeling of isolation. She talks about that, not just how they make you feel like you're just constantly being barraged, but how everybody around you kind of professionally tries to separate themselves from you because they don't want to get caught in the backlash. So I think where I'm going with this is that now being a teacher and dealing with young people who are just all across the rainbow spectrum of popularity, I've got LGBTQ students, I've got straight students, I've got Muslim students, I've got Latino students, I've got everybody. And one thing I know for a fact is that what they need, what people who are going through it now need, is to hear the voice of someone who has gone through it and can offer, if not a solution, but at least that sympathetic ear of, hey, I've been there. And sometimes it's a very difficult thing for us to have to relive our own trauma, especially in her case where this trauma is not that far removed. It was like last year, apparently. But to get up there and put herself back in that position with the hope of helping other people, I think is just a really brave thing and a really noble thing. And I applaud her very much for that, and I thank her very much for that. You know, again, I haven't gone through anything like that, but I know that there are people who have or are going through it, and I think hearing that is going to be very helpful to them. And I think that's the most important thing. We can't go back and change what happened to us. We can only try to take the experience we had and try to make sure that someone else maybe has an easier time of it. So that's kind of what I wanted to say. And I guess if I have to leave you with any kind of final thought, it'd be this for anybody out there. Number one, just blanket statement: be careful what you put out there. Be careful what you put online, on Twitter, on YouTube, on anything. Because as we all know, that information never goes away. It's always there, and someone will always find it, no matter what you think. And two, even when you're making a joke, even when you are, being sarcastic or whatever, it doesn't matter to these assholes. They will still take it and run with it, and take everything you say out of context. So, well, number one, just be careful. And number two, what I took away from the talk, and one of the reasons I decided, because I really weighed, should I make a video about this? Again, I don't have that many views, but I had this kind of just fear of, what if this kind of gets some attention I don't want and all that. But then I thought what I got out of that video is that we can't let those people win. We can't. We are living, folks, in some ways, in some of the shittiest times that have ever been. Yes, the internet and everything makes communication possible. We can get in touch with more things. It's offered 1,000 benefits and then some. But it also brings with it a heavy cost. And part of it is every racist, bigoted shithead, and no, I will not be nice to them and try to call them any kind of PC name. They're shitheads, are out there, and they're out there in force, and they are looking for someone to come at. They are looking to ruin someone's life. Who knows where the circuitry went wrong in them. Steve Buscemi said it in, Con Air, name your cliche. Mommy hugged him too much or didn't hug him enough, Whatever the reason. But they're out there, and they're coming for people, and they don't care. And we need to not let them win. Now, I am not encouraging by any stretch of the imagination flame wars. If this asshole comes at you, you'll fire back at him. I'm not sure what the proper response is. Do you, and she was even saying that in the video, ignoring it doesn't work, doing this doesn't work, doing that doesn't work, so what do you do? And I don't have the answer to that. All I know is when someone comes at you, and basically what she came to the conclusion of, because what helped her is that people came and supported her. They didn't do it in a, mouthing off. Some of her friends posted things on her Twitter saying, I support Lindsay Ellis. And then other people joined in. And I think that's the way to go. And I think that's what she was saying too, is that when people are coming at you from a place of hate, you got to come at them from a place of unity. We need to support one another. We need to stand up to these people. And again, not in a fight kind of way, because that's not going to solve anything, because you can't win against people like that. Not in that way. But I guess just by standing up, by doing like she did, and talking about it and saying, you know what? You don't get to win. You don't get to determine how I feel about myself. You know? So we need to take the initiative, A, by, again, being smart about what we post and how we post it. You know, be smart. But we also need to show support for each other in the smart way when something like this happens, when someone is being attacked. You know, and there's a difference between being attacked and being called out on something. I can understand, you know, the tweet she posted. I can understand why people would kind of take a little bit of offense to it, honestly. But to the extent that it was taken, clearly not. I mean, it was not that egregious. But just stand up, you know? Follow her example. Help other people out when you see it happening. Back up other people. And, you know, I don't think we'll ever really get rid of these assholes. They're a nuisance we have to live with, kind of like taking our shoes off at the airport. It's a thing that's out there. There's no easy way to stop it. And we have to live with it. So it's not going to end when certain people aren't in office anymore. It's not going to end ever. You're always going to have people like this, and we have to know how to deal with them. So that's all I really wanted to say. So I don't know if this video is going to mean anything to anybody. I don't know if it's going to... If nothing else, I hope either A, you go check out some of her work if you haven't before, or B, you go check out this video. And I'll try to... I don't know quite how. Again, I'll try to make sure there are links provided in this video so that you can go see those if you so desire. But go check those out. And you know what? I guess the other thing is just be good to each other. You know? Don't let the assholes win. So that's all I wanted to say. I want to thank Lindsay Ellis for her bravery. I'm sorry for the things that you had to go through, but know that people support you and believe in you and really dig the work that you do. And I know that sometimes isn't enough when you're met with all of this kind of negativity, but you have supporters, you have people who look up to you and who want to stand up. So thank you for what you had to say, and to everybody out there, stand up and be good. All right, be better. Let's be better. We really need to work to be better, all of us. And so yeah, that's really all I wanted to say in this one. So a very long comment, so it saves me from typing it, and I got to hear my own voice, which you all know I love. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. We will check you later. So until next time, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.